Well, hello everyone, and thanks for joining me today at Juanette's Crafting Corner. In today's video, I'm going to work on Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, Volume 4. She has given us, her and her sister Sarah have given us two prompts. The first prompt is monograms or initials, and the second prompt is lace. So my initials are J and H. And what I did is I went on the internet, found an image that I liked. I enlarged it on my computer, and then I taped it to the glass door of my patio, and then taped the fabric over the top of it. So this was underneath. So you can kind of see it there coming through. And so what I did is then I took my pen, my fabric pen that will erase with heat, and I drew the image over it. Now what I'm doing for the background part of the initial is I'm using this red thread. It's number 817, and I'm doing a satin stitch along here. And then what I think, and I'm not sure, it's a stitch that I saw on Instagram. And so I went looking through my books to try to find it. I think I may have found it. It may be this one. And Christine with Create and Craft with Christine, let me know if you think this is the stitch when I show you doing it. It's called Chain Stitch Heavy. And it's this, and I'm going to show you how I learned from Instagram, but it could also potentially be this one, the Chain Stitch Hungarian Braided. So let's get started. So I do have all 6 strands of my thread here, and it's actually a quite easy stitch. Now I'm going to zoom you in. So what I'm going to do is start here at this edge. I'm going to come up and then back down. And I'm going to turn it like this because it's easier for me to see it. And then I'm going to come back up. And then I'm going to go underneath this stitch, not piercing the fabric. And then I'm going to come back down at that point B. And it forms a little chain. So again, come up, underneath the previous 2 stitches, not piercing the fabric, and then back down. And see, it forms that nice little chain. Again, up. And you always want to make sure that you're coming around the same way each time. So back underneath and then back down, and it forms that neat little chain. Now, this is the first time I've ever done this stitch, and I am in love with it. It's easy. It looks pretty. I think it's perfect for this. Now, what have I been up to? Well, I've been futzing around today. You guys know what that term futzing means. Just messing around is what it is for those that don't live in the United States. I've done some Etsy orders today, filled them, got them mailed off. I finished a video for next Monday. I have banana nut bread in the oven right now. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you have bananas that are ripe and you don't want to eat them, they're too ripe to eat, and you want to make banana nut bread, but you don't have time to do it, you can freeze your bananas. I just throw them in the freezer with the peeling on them, and they get black. They get, really dark, but you take them out and you defrost them, and then you smash them up and put them in your banana nut bread. The peeling of the banana protects the inside of the banana so it doesn't get freezer burn. So that's a little tip. So I ended off that stitch. Then I came up here where this part of the H is. I just came up and then I just continue. So you go down. And since I'm starting basically a new stitch, I come up. Kind of away from it. So see, I came up there, down there, came back up here. Then I'm going to go underneath that thread and then back down to form my chain. And then I can just keep on with the stitch around the corner. Underneath, not piercing the fabric. There is a gal by the name of Christine. Her channel is Create and Craft with Christine. She is doing a series where every video is a different embroidery stitch. And I am watching those, but I am definitely saving every single one of those videos because to me, did I do the right thing or did I just confuse myself? I think I'm okay. Because with me, unless I see something done repetitive, I kind of lose track of how to do it. So that's why I'm just kind of still doing this so you guys can see, because that's how I learn the best. That Instagram post where the gal was showing how to do this stitch, I watched it over and over and over again because it took a while for me to figure out how to do it. You know, I think I have a little dyslexia. And so it takes me a while sometimes to learn stuff. So I'm going to put the camera on hold, finish going all the way around here, and I'll be back with you guys. So I finished all of this part of the H, and now I'm taking a different shade of red. So this was the first red, and now I'm taking a little bit lighter color of red, or a brighter color, and I'm going to do the actual monogram, the letters. Now I know my satin stitch needs a little bit of work. It's not perfect, and I want it to look a little more perfect. So my plan is to finish off all of this of the actual letter, iron it to get rid of the lines, and then take a look at it, take only 1 or 2 strands of my color and go over it to make it a little bit more perfect. The other thing I'm going to do is let you guys know I will link Christine's channel in the description below if you want to learn those stitches. She's doing every stitch from A, I think, to Z. And every video is a different stitch from that book I showed you. And she takes the time to explain it. So if you want to learn new stitches, she's your gal. So I'm going to sew this, and then I will be back with you guys. So I have finished my monogram, but what I thought I would do is, remember I told you that my satin stitching needed a little bit of work here on these leaves. It's not as perfect as I would like it to be. So I sewed them with 6 strands, but I'm going to come in with 2 strands and just kind of go over it a little bit just to kind of smooth it out. So I have a scary story to tell you guys. Oh my gosh. So yesterday was my son's day off, and we decided to go see the movie Mission Impossible. And I told you that I was watching my daughter's dog, Finn, and I'm going to insert a picture in right now so you can see how cute this dog is. This is the same kind of dog I'm going to get. So anyway, we closed all the doors to the bedrooms and the bathrooms, because he's still, he's a couple of years old, and he's, still a puppy, and we didn't want him to get into any kind of trouble. And he has more than enough water and food, and so my son and I went to the movies. And this is a 3-hour movie. Well, when we came home, I opened up the garage door. Now, let me also tell you, remember, the last time I looked, it's 115 degrees here, which is 46 Celsius. But when we got out of the movies yesterday, my car said it was 126 degrees outside. It's just brutally hot. Let's just say that. So I opened up the garage door, And all of a sudden I hear my son yell, and here comes Finn running toward the car. And I'm like, how in the world did he get out of the house into the garage? And you know that garage is not air conditioned. It's hot. So I opened up the door to the car, and that dog jumped in right on top of me and was panting like crazy. Now, he didn't feel that hot, but he was panting and panting and panting. I don't know how long that little sweetheart had been out in the garage in the heat. Now, it couldn't have been that long. And the reason I say that is because had he been in the garage for 3 hours, I would have come home to a real tragedy. And it would have broke my heart to have to tell my daughter that. And when we left, I specifically went back and checked the laundry room door to make sure that it was closed well. And it was. And that little stinker, I guess on jumping up, I don't like that stitch right there. That made it jiggy out. Anyway, that little stinker managed to, oh, I don't know how to get that now because I don't know where the thread is and I'll probably mess it up. I'm going to have to just rethread it and just fix that. But anyway, that little stinker managed with his paws as he was jumping up on the door to follow us, managed to open that door and go into the garage. So I pulled into the garage, and we always close the garage before we let him out because he always goes with me to take my son to work. He loves to go bye-bye in the car. And I always close the garage before I open up the door to let him out of the car because we have lots of rabbits around here. And I'm afraid if he saw a rabbit, he would go running after it. So I closed the garage and I opened up the car door and we got out and he came in the house and he went immediately to his water bowl. And that little sweetheart drank and drank and drank. I'm just making this worse. This is driving me crazy. I'm trying to make it smooth and it's just like, ugh, I'll get it eventually. Just keep putting more stitches in. So anyway, that little sweetheart drank and drank and drank and drank. And he was panting so much. And then he would lay down on his stomach. You know, when they're a pure breed, apparently, if they can lay their legs out like that and their tummies on their belly, or their tummies on the floor, that means they're a purebred. At least that's what I've been told. But anyway, he lay down on the tile of the kitchen to try to cool off. And I took a wet washcloth and sat on the floor with him. Okay, I think we're okay there. Sat on the floor with him and just wiped him down. And then he would go and drink a little more water and I told my son, I said, Pascal, Google when you should take a dog that's overheated to the vet, and what should we do? And so he did that, and he said it said to take the dog to the vet immediately. But you know what? Remember, I was an emergency room nurse for 18 years, and so, I'm looking at the dog, and I'm like, okay, he doesn't feel that hot. Yes, he's panting, and yes, he's drinking a lot, but he's not vomiting, and he didn't look lethargic. He just looked like, kind of tired, and he was excited to see us. So I I just thought, well, I'm going to watch him a little bit. So I sat on the kitchen floor with that dog for way over a half an hour, petting him, calming him down, watching him, looking at his, in his mouth, and, making sure that, just really observing him. And so about an hour after it had occurred, and I had then taken him into my bedroom, and, which has a ceiling fan, and we got up on the bed, and I just laid there with him and petted him and what have you. And I texted my daughter, and I said, when you have a moment, can you, FaceTime me? And she did within about 15 minutes. And I said to her, I told her what had happened. And I said, if you feel that I should take him to the vet, just let me know and I will. And we were on FaceTime, so she could see Finn. And by this time he wasn't panting as much, and he was, just laying there with me. And she said, no, she said, I think he's okay. I said, I'll keep a real close eye out on him tonight. And if anything changes, then I'll take him to the vet. Well, he slept all night long. And the other thing is, probably about 2 hours after it happened, he ate. He went to his dog bowl, and he ate, and then I felt it was safe enough to give him some ice cubes, because I didn't want to give him too cold of fluids initially. And he loves to eat ice cubes, so he ate some ice cubes. And then, I took him outside, and he was able to urinate. So I thought, okay, good, his kidneys are working. And this morning we got up, and he was just happy as a clam and just perfect. But I'm telling you, peeps, oh my gosh, my friends, that was so scary, because again, if I had to tell my daughter that her little sweet Finn had perished in the garage, it would have just killed me. It would have just killed me. So when I get my dog, I'm going to have to do something different about the door situation, because, they can jump up. They're smart dogs. So, but thankfully he's okay, and he's happy. And my daughter was okay. She said, I know you love him, Mom, and I know he's in good hands with you. And, he is. It just was one of those things that could have been a real tragedy. But anyway, so let's move on. So I am very pleased at how this is turning out. Usually my satin stitching is so. I haven't done it enough to perfect it, and I know it's not as precise as some people, but I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm pretty pleased with those two colors, and I'm just going to come in here with a little bit more and make that satin stitching a little bit better, and then I'll move on to the lace. And again, I still haven't found that piece of lace, my favorite piece of lace that I brought back from Italy. Anyway, I'll come back in just a few minutes. Now that I have finished my monograms, I want to add one more little monogram. This was sent to me from Pam at Pandora's Junk Journals. It looks like a little J. And then I want to add this tatting also that I bought in Italy. And so I've shown you kind of some of my fabrics for my palette on this piece. And what I've decided is this piece, and I'm going to show you why. So when I grab these pieces and lay them on, they kind of get lost in the background fabric. So I thought I would take some of this, and I've already trimmed a little bit of it, because when you put this over the top of it, it really stands out. So I'm just going to cut a small piece or tear a small piece. And what I did is I already ripped off the branding strip, and I like this right here. It's still a little bit of that brown. You can see it more over here. Maybe I'll tear it off of that side. I actually like that. I think I am going to. Yeah, this is a little bit different here. Kind of has the both. So let me just rip a piece. And probably about like that. And what I'm going to do is cross stitch it onto my background piece. Now, is this going to rip? Yeah. I don't need that much. And you know, on this slow stitching style of sewing, we love the raggedy edges. There we go. We love all those fibers and what have you. Oops. Lost my scissors there for a minute. Alrighty, so let's put this one, I think, down in this corner here. And I will probably do some kind of a blanket stitch around there. And what I've decided to sew it with is kind of this kind of goldish color. And like I said, what I'm going to do is do just a cross stitch. Now my sister Sherry, she is the expert on cross stitching. So Sherry, I wish you were here to do this for me. Just go in. And so what I'm going to do is go all in one direction, and I'm going to do the outside part here first. Got to find the right little hole. What I need is my my magnifying glass light. I'm going to turn it on over here so it makes this area a little bit brighter. Sorry for the racket. Okay, so I'm going to go all in one direction. So I'm going to come up there. And I'm going to skip 2. So today's a new day. It's Saturday. And Pascal, my son, is off work, so we don't have really any plans. Oh, there you go. I want to make sure it's on the right hole. So skip 2. And like I said, this is just going to anchor it down. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to go all in one direction and then back. So as I head back, I'll turn the camera back on. So you can see now that I went in this direction and now I'm coming back in the other direction. And let's see, I can hardly see. I really need my magnifying glass. But anyway, I just come up and then cross over. You guys know how to do this. Oops, sorry for the camera being out of frame. So I'm just going to do the little X's here. Then I'm going to go back up this side and do the X's. Okay, I finished stitching these down with the little cross stitch, and I put a small stitch here to hold this down. And I'm gonna leave this up because I might want to slide something underneath there, but I do want to put this little tatting here because this was also part of the second prompt. And I'm just going to lay it there. And I'm just taking some of this thread. I'll show you it in a minute, but because it's in my hand, I don't want to undo it. And I'm just going to put in a couple of small little stitches to tack this down, but I'm not going to tack it down over on this side because again, I may want to, depending on the next prompts, slide something underneath there. I just want to tack this down so I know that I wanted this to stay here. And I will probably put some other kind of a red material there depending on the prompt, just to make that stand out a little bit. So my daughter comes back tomorrow, and so that little Finn, my little sweetheart, is going to go back home. I know I'm really going to miss him. I've really enjoyed babysitting that dog. So anyway, like I said, I'm going to tack this down. Just doing in and out stitches. Go this way here. Now, if you have not done these projects with Rachel and Sarah, it's not too late to start. It's so much fun, and it really does get your creative juices flowing, because you only know the prompt that they give you for that 2 weeks. So 6 months from now, I don't know what this is going to look like at all. There is no pattern. You're just, it's kind of it's just a really nice way to be creative and to see what develops. I tell you, I love this tatting. That was quite a find at that antique store in Italy. This definitely is a treasured lace. And I do have some other lace. I pulled this off. Bring it closer. It's from this roll here that I also got in Italy. But I'm not quite sure yet if I'm going to put it on. Again, I'm going to wait for other prompts. Where'd my back go? Okay. Alrighty. I think this is attached pretty good. Like I said, I want to be able to have the ability to slide something behind there. If another prompt comes up where that would look good, probably some more the red fabric. Let's just tack this down over here. So after I'm done with this, I'm going to put this stuff away, and I'm going to start a new journal. Okay, I think that's fine just like that. I'm going to back you out so you can see. And I was a little disappointed. This seems a little askew. With my OCD, I kind of like things very symmetrical, but that's okay. I'm going to fix that. But anyway, that's my project thus far on our Roxy's Journal of Stitchery treasures. Hidden treasures or finding treasures. Anyway, I will link it in the description box. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you guys again very soon. Thanks, and bye-bye.